Okay, we should be live. Should be live. We should be live, ladies and gents. Okay, so today we're gonna go through this week's market outlook. Now, I don't know if you guys can hear me all too well. I'm just gonna turn up my audio. Should be able to hear me a little bit better now. Mic check, 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, cool. So, JD Trades back again with another outlook. So today we're just gonna switch things up a little bit. I'm gonna live stream this, and yeah, let's just get straight into it. So at the moment we do have the dollar index here. Now, what's quite interesting is, of course, from the weekly picture, how price kind of closed. So last week we did extend lower beneath last week's low. So once we took it, I was kind of expecting some sort of reaction like what we had here previously. However, we can see that we've actually extended down lower and we're playing into this weekly down candle. Now that's perfectly fine. Now the picture on the weekly perspective, and the weekly picture is actually quite clean for a bullish move to the upside. So our new closest areas of liquidity will now have to be last week's high. Okay, that would now be the nearest area, or the next area, shall I say. As long as structure, of course, permits bullishness, we should ideally head up higher. Next is the daily area. Now, I did say to you guys that we may potentially hold that weekly imbalance, or we may push into this daily candle and potentially play it as a breaker candle. So at the moment, that's the reaction that we've seen so far. Of course, NFP did dump this down a lot lower, which was to be expected. Now, if I head over to the 4-hour picture, we can see, hold on, sorry, let's go to the 1 hour. We can see that we did take out the Asia session high. Now, the half hour, I did, of course, put inside of my Telegram and also inside of our Discord channel that, we may potentially get price taking out the session high, the Asia session high, and then get a sell-off from there. Now, the other area was this half-hour candle. If we did get up there, that would be a great area to sell, but we can also understand that price is okay with grabbing the liquidity and reacting off of that, then that's perfectly fine. So we took out the Asia session high and we started dropping from there. Now, when we are, of course, heading up higher for the dollar, I will take a closer look at this area when we do get there. Okay, it may potentially give us some pullbacks. It may potentially give us a move to the downside before we actually continue heading up higher. On the 4-hour, we do have this massive 4-hour imbalance. I'm just going to change the visibility on this really quickly. Okay, just turn it off the minutes. Cool. So we do have this 4-hour imbalance sitting inside of here, which can give us a potential move as well. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at one of those two areas. So either this 4-hour imbalance or that 1-hour imbalance once we get there. So at the moment, I am kind of looking for price to kind of give us a push up and then a pull back and then a potential continuation for the buy, of course, to rival these highs, and then go for the overall target that I've been looking out for since last month. Okay, so that's the play at the time being, for the dollar. We'll just have to take a closer look at it once we are getting in and around the right areas. Next up will be the euro. Okay, this does look very clean, guys. It just does look very clean for a very nice swoop shorting opportunity to the downside. In terms of a Fibonacci perspective, we've really come up to the sweet spot, which is around in between the 71% and the 78%. retracement there, so we've of course headed up into the premium. So now it's time for us to look for some potential shorts to get back down into discounted prices. Okay, so remember, you want to sell at a premium and you want to buy at a discount. So at the moment, if we head over to the 4-hour time frame, you can see that even myself, I did attempt to go short here. We did manage to hit TP1 and TP2, but of course we can see we had that rally back up. We had a play back into this 4-hour candle, okay, to then take out the liquidity sitting above this high and these highs here. Okay, now that we've swiped both areas of liquidity here, it's really about understanding there is a high probability for us to actually head down lower and looking for those shorting opportunities. So potentially for the time being, this is how the market did close. We may potentially get a pull down. If I can get something, where is that tool, guys? Should be here. Yeah, should be here. Can't see it. Anyways, that's fine. We should get something like this. If we can get a drop down lower, a potential pullback, maybe even a slight consolidation. Okay, we take out the high one more time before we go. That is what is potentially on the cards. And this short, of course, we've got all of these areas of liquidity, but the main area will be the one sitting down right at this low. Okay, so that's going to be the target from that perspective. So I'm going to look out for that coming next week. It's a really, really, really nice move. It's a really nice play. You know, even if I drag from this area to the low, it's around 100 and, let's say 150 pip range. So with a 30 pip or 35 pip SL, if you can catch 105 pips of that, or you know, with a 30, even if you enter with a 20 pip SL, you know, if you can catch 60 pips of that, that's your 3%. So in that regards, there's definitely potential for these moves to pay well. Next up is going to be on gold. So gold, interestingly enough, for gold, I'm a bit conflicted in a sense that from a weekly perspective, okay, we've done everything we need to do. From a weekly perspective, this can push up. Okay, we took out last week's low. Now the reaction that we are seeing is granted, and how we closed is not surprising at all. Okay, now we can actually start being bullish from here and rally and make a new higher high. That is potential, okay, because the structure is still bullish. However, the daily structure is still maintaining its bearishness. Since we broke this high low, we made a low low, we made a low high, we made a low low. So potentially we need this daily high to hold to create a lower low, or potentially have this daily low or high to hold and give us a lower low or stop price or hold price from actually pushing above this high. Okay, because if we push above this high, then, you know, I would expect this to actually start to rally up higher. Now let me explain to you guys why I do think that this may potentially, you know, of course, ruin the party and start heading up higher. Okay, so initially we had this 8-hour area. Okay, very nice reaction out of there here, very nice push, which was where we were looking for the long positions from 2 weeks ago. Okay, now with this area, now bear in mind with this 8-hour candle here, that's the area that we're looking for buys. Cool, just gonna turn off the magnet. We had this low, get swiped here. We formed another low, get swiped here. Okay, so we've had not one but 2 sweeps of the lows. Right now, this is a very fundamental and a footprint that we look for in terms of potential reversals and price heading to the other direction. Now, I am going to need some more data, okay, some more price action, some more candles to print before there's a lot more confidence in exactly where gold is going to head to. But for the time being, because we've had those sweeps and we're still maintaining inside of that 8-hour area, there's a high probability of gold actually doing the opposite. Yes, even though the dollar, we are anticipating the dollar to, of course, push up and be bullish, you know, gold may also push up and also be bullish as well. But like I said, if the dollar's strong, gold is most likely to come down. So bear that in mind. There may be a little bit of manipulation going into next week. So we'll of course have to take a look at that once we are close to that area. All right, so NFP results, we did of course do something similar to the dollar that I explained to you with the Asia session high. So we had these Asia session highs here. We did spike it through it with NFP. We dropped down, okay, and inside of that drop down, I did manage to catch myself some shorts for around, I think it was 300 pips or something like that. Okay, it was a very, very nice move to the downside, and this is currently where gold has closed. It's very interesting how gold is closed. In fact, for this week, we did come down, we've tested, instead of us actually potentially creating a new low or closing somewhere around here, we've actually pulled all the way back up, pretty much very close to the NFP range. Now, the short that I was looking at was off of the basis of this 5-minute imbalance here. So let's take a look at this 5-minute imbalance here once we are in market open on Monday, and see if that can potentially provide us with some adequate moves. Okay, let's talk about GU. Okay, so for cable, and guys, by the way, if you are inside the comment section and you want me to go through some other pairs, just let me know. I'll go through those pairs for you guys, no problem whatsoever. Cool. So with the pound, okay, this is great. The pound has in fact played into these two daily candles here. Now the short, it's a very similar picture to the euro dollar. Okay, let's find out how big this range is. Maybe it might be a little bit better than EU. Okay, yeah, as expected, there's about a 200 and let's say 250 pip range for GU in terms of the short in opportunity. So with GU, in fact, from the previous high low that we had, okay, ideally is this high low. From this high low, we of course create this high high. If I head over to the 4-hour time frame, this might be a little bit clearer too. Okay, now I will be looking at this low here, this intermediate low. Okay, 1.25158. Okay, that's where I'll be looking out for when it comes to GU. Okay, I want to actually see how we're going to interact inside this area, because if we take a look at here, we had this play here, right, off of the 1 hour, right? We had the 1 hour time frame hold this area. I did catch some buys around here ish. Okay, we pushed up, we come back down, we played into that exact same area, of course, before we made that main rally, that main push. So it will be interesting to see how cable reacts inside of this area. Okay, if we head over to the 4-hour time frame, I do really want to see price take out this 4-hour low, and then I'm going to be anticipating that potential shorting opportunity. Now off of the daily time frame, we do have this daily imbalance here. Now price can, as you can see from my arrow there, give a pullback from this area. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a reaction from this area to pull back up. That could also potentially be another entry to then target these lows. Okay, so that's the play for GJ, sorry, not GJ, GU, EU, and gold. All right, so next is going to be GJ. So what's you guys looking at? What are you guys looking at, ladies and gents? Let me know inside of the comment section what pairs you are looking at, and then I can potentially look at them and break them down for you guys, of course. Cool. So with GJ, we are inside of a few key areas where we can get some reactions from. Now, it's important to actually look at things from the higher time frame. I can't stress this enough, guys. Higher time frame is king. You've probably heard that 1,000,001 times, and guess what? I'm going to tell you 1,000,002 times now. Okay, the higher time frame is king. Now, we've cleared highs that we haven't been at since 2015. Okay, since 2015, the pound against the yen has not been this high. Okay, So far, we have taken out the liquidity that's resting above those highs, so a pull down is granted. So this whole spike move to the downside that we're seeing on the 4 hour and 1 hour makes sense. Okay, it's to be expected. Now, if we head over to the weekly, okay, oh, pardon me, to the monthly, we can see that price can head down to this monthly candle of December 2023. We can actually pull down a lot lower, all the way down to that area. Now, if I turn our attentions over to the daily time frame, we are currently sitting inside of these two daily candles here, which can be a catalyst for us to actually continue rising and pushing up. However, it's important for us to understand that we do have some equal lows sitting down here, which can act as a liquidity pool. Okay, since we had this high, we've had a slight consolidation, and we had price breaking out of the range. So now we could potentially take out these lows first before we actually start to see any signs of rallying. Now, usually if the yen is strong, okay, gold does come down. Realistically, if GJ is coming down, then gold should be pushing up. Realistically, if I am saying that the right way around. Excuse me. Okay. So, for example, for the likes of UJ, okay, if UJ is coming down, then gold should be pushing up. Okay, they're usually inversely correlated. Of course, correct me in the comment section if I am making a mistake there, but I'm pretty sure it is when UJ is coming down, gold does the opposite. Cool. So far, if we take a look at things from the 8 hour, we are currently sitting inside this 8 hour candle. Like I said, we just saw things on the daily perspective. The daily is showing us that we can get some buys from this area. We've refined the area down to the 8 hour. If we look at the 4 hour, there are some other areas, but I will work inside of this 8 hour candle. Now, this candle is quite large. It is 140 pips, 150 pips-ish large. So we're definitely going to have to see some sort of lower time frame progression. Okay, we want to see potentially this 1 hour high get taken. Once we get that hourly high taken, okay, we can then look for a potential pullback before we actually start to rival some previous highs above there. Okay, so these can be some big buys. You know, GJ's been given some very huge ranges. Okay, and that huge range means loads of opportunity for you to find some sort of a entry, some sort of a, you know, a pullback to enter. Because look at this is well over what, wow, what is that, 800 pips if I'm not mistaken. So there's definitely a lot in this for you guys to, of course, capture. The market has been giving us some very huge ranges as of lately, so it's important that you don't need to rush. All you just need to do is find that pullback, that entry to, of course, capitalize on. Next up is Bitcoin. Okay, I don't usually talk about cryptos, but today I'm in a good mood, so I'm going to talk about cryptos. Monthly, weekly. Okay, now weekly picture, we have pierced inside this area. Just bear with me for a second, guys. Okay, I hope you guys can see my screen, by the way. So if my picture is too big and you can't see, let me know. I can, of course, decrease my video cam. All right, so Bitcoin from a weekly perspective. Okay, we have taken out this weekly high low. Okay, so depending on how price closes, the candle's closure, we may get a pullback and then lower prices. Okay, let me use the rush tool. Okay, So from the weekly perspective, because we have taken out this low here, we can get a potential pullback and then price dropping down lower. That's what Bitcoin is talking about on the weekly time frame. Okay, now bear that in mind when we are looking at things from the daily perspective, before we of course partake in any of this. Now here we have things on the daily. We can look at this daily low. We've had some lower highs here. We've created another new daily low. We've had a lower high here. We've created another daily low. Okay, so in between this high and this low, we can get some shorting opportunities. Okay, it's just that simple. Now, ideally, it depends on a few things. Okay, because the dollar is going to be strong, there is a chance that this will drop down lower. Okay, there is a very good chance that this will drop down lower, with of course the picture that we are anticipating for the dollar. Right, if I go back to the 4-hour picture, you can see the move that we are currently seeing here. So this can drop down lower. However, at the moment, when we look at Bitcoin, okay, from the 4-hour time frame and all of these highs that we have here, I am anticipating price potentially being bullish off of this 4-hour area inside of this 4-hour imbalance. Okay, there is a higher probability of price doing something like that. Now, if we are going to pull back up into these premium areas to then be a sell, okay, we can look for a potential move inside of here and then a progression to the upside. Okay, we can then target these highs here on the 4-hour. Okay, as our exit. That's one of the areas that I'll look out for Bitcoin. Okay, now Bitcoin can definitely come down lower, especially when we're looking at 52k, 52.5. It can definitely come down lower. You know, ideally Bitcoin has of course reached all-time highs, so the liquidity of sitting above these highs have been grabbed, so we can get some bearish price action back down to this weekly candle around the 50k mark. It's possible, guys. I'm not going to sit here and say that we can't get down there. So right now there is evidence to suggest lower prices, especially with the picture that we're seeing on the dollar, especially with the structure that we're seeing on the weekly, and especially the current daily price action. It is suggesting that we may get a lower Bitcoin. So like I said, we just need some more data, at least for the time being. It's very early on. I understand the crypto market is still operational at these times, but we need some more data. Now, we can be bullish up until this point here, where I would ideally like to see this really start to now drop lower. If the market is happy to come down to what was this, the low of this candle? The low of this candle is 56,711, and then push up. That's perfectly fine. Also, don't forget that there will be signatures and opportunities for us to, of course, enter this trade. So, reminder again, I will set an alert for this here. If Bitcoin does get down to this 4-hour imbalance, I will be anticipating some potential long opportunities. If it gets down to this 4-hour candle, it's even better. But I'm not going to, of course, you know, sit there, twiddle my thumbs and wait for price to get exactly down to that candle before I start looking for some longs. So, this stream has been quite long. I've gone through a lot of different setups and a lot of different trades with you guys. So, with that being said, don't forget to, of course, like this live stream. If you do enjoy it, make sure to comment, drop a like, and there'll be more live streams on the way. I am interested in doing some live streams for market execution, so we're going to sit down maybe during a New York session, and we're going to go through some of the charts and see what trades that we can, of course, find. And we'll take some live executions, of course. Other than that, always remember the theory behind the practice. It's JD Trades, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Peace.